Welcome to Black Men Speak. I'm your co-host, the J.R. Stewart.
And I'm your co-host TD3. It is Wednesday night, 8 August the 26th, 2026. And if it's Wednesday night,
It's certainly Black Men Speak. So if you haven't already, people, please hit that notification bell, hit the like button to help us with the YouTube algorithm. And if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you're here watching the show live, invite a friend, a family member, a neighbor, a coworker, or a frenemy, so you guys have something interesting to talk about for the rest of the week. With that being said, Tom, let's do what we do best, which is bring interesting stories about what's going on in the world to social media.
all right, folks, we have a jam-packed show tonight and a lot to talk about. On tonight's show, we have several stories, including Meta. That is the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, settles out of court for $17 billion. We just reported on this about a week ago at the time, but this is breaking news within the last day. Uh, Sean Grayson, who killed Sonya Massey, dies in prison. Talk a little bit about that. Two police officers stopped two brothers. What was the offense? Driving to work. We got to talk briefly about that. That ties
Were they
directly.
driving? I thought they were walking to work.
No, they were driving, but this aligns with what Jimmy's been talking about in
Okay.
terms of his legal advice that he's been giving us. And so I thought that would be a great story to talk about. There was a sister who had bought her first home at 35 years old and was being harassed by a neighbor. We had a story similar to this before, was using the N-word, epithets, things of that nature, was being harassed. Well, sometimes things like this happen, and some brothers who were motorcyclists came to give us some support. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Tennessee man whose mother was calling because of a mental health crisis. He was threatening suicide, called for help. Why does he get shot and killed? And recently, we just found out that a story we covered a few years ago, a sister in Fort Worth who was killed while she was in her home, her nephew playing video games. Well, she got a pretty, well, not her because she's gone, got a pretty massive judgment. And hopefully we will get to it. But the food industry is maybe taking a hit because, of course, of the weight loss drug that is popular in a lot of communities. And we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. But before we start talking about that, we do have a couple of, I think, very familiar face and or voices that you will probably know that we have lost within the last week, and we want to make sure that we take a minute to honor them first, Jimmy. So let's go ahead and roll it out and share our condolences.
Well, sit yourself down, girl, and talk to me. Tell me what's on your mind. Don't keep on telling me everything's okay.
All right,
Man, no,
JL.
Michael Wright passed away.
Yeah, man, that one was a shocker, man. He, of course, most people know him as the Eddie King, or who I call Eddie King Jr. And the Five Heartbeats just passed, became an ancestor at the age of 70. I didn't know he was that old on
Man,
August 8th.
my favorite role of his when he played the brother in Sugar Hill. I
Yep,
mean, him and Wesley were
Wesley
drug
Snipes.
dealers.
Yeah,
They had a drug gang, and doing business with the Italian mafia, selling drugs down in Harlem. Um, yeah, Ray Nathan was his character name. Oh man, he just absolutely played that role. He should have gotten an Oscar for his performance because I don't think anybody else could have pulled that role off the way he did.
yeah. Michael Wright is a icon. He only had a few major roles, but boy, he really did it. He Actually, originally is from New York City, born in 1956. He died at 70. Played in the Five Heartbeats. Of course, he played in Sugar Hill. Also played for those who are, who watch HBO. He played in The Oz on HBO. Cause of death was heart failure and a very rare neurological disorder that he had as well. He is survived by his wife, five children, and a grandchild. Man, he has had a major impact and a lot of, I presume, one-liners that people probably remember him for. Grave loss to the entertainment community, grave loss to the black community. Jimmy, we have to give our condolences and our prayers to his family, those who loved him, those who miss him. Just a phenomenal actor, not just on the screen, but he was also a stage actor, which a lot of people, unless you really went to see a lot of plays, didn't know, but he was a stage actor as well.
In the Five Heartbeats, he was good, Tom. I'm telling you, if you haven't seen Sugar Hill with Wesley Snipes and Michael Wright,
Oh,
you have
yeah.
to go watch it. I'm telling you, I don't think anyone else could have pulled that role off any better than he did. That was one of the best performances. I mean, he was one. I mean, I liked the movie, but he was. It wasn't because of Wesley Snipes. It was actually because of him. He did such a magnificent role, played that character. You have to go watch it if you haven't seen it.
And this is probably for the younger crowd. Most folks, probably in our generation, watched Sugar Hill back in the day. I couldn't believe that the Five Heartbeats actually came out in 1991. That's 35 years ago, Jimmy. That the
Wow,
Five Heartbeats,
it's been
35
that
years
long.
ago. It's
We
been that
dating
long.
ourselves, Tom.
Yes, sir. Also a voice that many of you guys are probably familiar with, especially if you either are R&B or a blues enthusiast. Benjamin William Lattimore, also known as Lattimore,
Right.
just passed at the age of 86 years old, became an ancestor this past Sunday at the age of 86, acclaimed blues singer, pianist, and songwriter, born in Charleston, Tennessee, not Charleston, South Carolina, born in Charleston, Tennessee. His breakthrough 1974 classic, Let's Straighten It Out, hit number one on the R&B charts.
Yeah, I didn't know there was a Charleston in Tennessee.
I
Learn
did
something
not even.
interesting every day.
Yeah. Other notable songs include Keep the Home Fire Burning, Something About You, and Stormy Monday. Recorded and released 2 dozen albums over a 5 decade career, Jimmy. So he's been around. He was also inducted to the Blues Hall of Fame in 2017. His death has not been publicly disclosed.
Okay. Now, did he originally write Stormy Monday?
I don't know if he wrote it, but he definitely was a writer. So it's quite possible that he did because he was a
Okay.
singer, writer, and of course he played the piano as well. So yeah, just an all around very talented brother, and a huge loss to the entertainment and
Yes.
the music community in particular. So our prayers and our condolences go out to him and his family. Those who he I'm pretty sure that his music and especially his famous "Straighten It Out" probably created a lot of folks who are living today. So, in that being said, we are now transitioned to our major stories of the day. A couple of breaking stories that we want to talk about. Two of them that are pretty significant, Jimmy. Sean Grayson, and we talked about this situation where Sonya Massey was killed a few years ago, Jimmy. Well, the former Sangamon County, Illinois Sheriff's Deputy, Sean Grayson, died just a couple of days ago on August the 25th while serving a 20-year prison sentence for murdering Sonya Massey. Big news. It was nationwide news, Jimmy. He was convicted on second-degree murder charge on the incident that occurred on July the 6th, 2024, a couple of years ago, after Massey called 911 to actually, she was concerned that somebody was outside of her home,
Right.
and it ended up with her being shot and killed herself. And the thing about this one is this is another one where we've had this conversation, Jimmy. If it wasn't for the recording of the other officer there, Jimmy, this probably would have turned out different.
Well, that's true. That's something to be said for body cam. And if you ever encounter officers, no, I don't care how small it is, always make sure the body cam is running, or you take your phone out and you start recording yourself, because sometimes that body cam footage just magically comes up missing or becomes corrupt. So take your phone out, record anytime you're dealing with police officers.
Yeah, in this case, he went. Then they went inside the house. Obviously, there was a conversation between Grace and the other officer and Massey. She had a pot of water in her hand, and according to the trial evidence, he told her to, put the water up, and Grayson he drew out his firearm. Massey apologized and moved to the kitchen. Grayson fired 3 shots, one hitting Massey in the head. Of course, she died. Shooting was captured on body cam, and he got a 20-year sentence. He had served 6 months. Of course, he tried to get released because of a health condition, and that was rejected. And in addition to that, in a separate civil case, they agreed, that is Sangamon County, a $10 million settlement with the Massey family as well. This is just kind of a bittersweet Jimmy thing because, of course, the civil suit obviously cannot replace losing a daughter of that family, a mother
Well,
to a
Tom,
young son of
part
his
of
own.
the part of her. I mean, there was a story actually even before this, with her being in some distress, and her family members actually put her out because she was staying with either a sister or a brother, and some family member put her out, or really forced her to go back to her own place, but she had nobody to help her, care for her there by herself. And we knew she had some mental disorder. She was on medication. I'm going to tell you about the medications, Tom. A couple of years ago, when I had to go into the hospital to have surgery, man, I was so doped up on this medicine that they gave me, and I told the wife to be careful when I go in, that to make sure that I need you to be the same person and watch what they give me, because if I'm so medicated up, then I can't consent to anything. Time I was so doped up, man, I was convinced that I'd been captured by aliens. I was on a spaceship. Um, that's how the medicines out there, supposedly the help mood change medicines help you feel better. They can have you so doped up, Tom, that reality is just totally changes for you. So when you see people out there and you think that they're that they are acting strange, sometimes it's the medicine that they're on that has them acting that way.
Gotcha. And I just took my headphones off. We want to thank Tiffany for jumping on the chat line. She said they have an echo. I did hear that echo earlier today, so I'm going to try to do this without the headphones. Unfortunately, I know the last couple of weeks I was being told that there's a hissing noise in the background, or they had a hard time hearing me. So I'm going to try to stay close to the speakers on the laptop.
We can hear you, but the hissing noise is definitely back.
Gotcha. So it's either a hissing noise or an echo. I don't know which is the better of the worse. So we have to make. Also, want to thank Ms. Tanya Hall for jumping on the chat line, and we will continue. So let me know, folks. Would you prefer the hissing or the echo? Let me know. I guess with the headphones on, I have a little bit of an echo. When I don't have the headphones, there's a little bit of a background noise on the laptop. So just let me know which is
Well,
better.
try. You can try the headphones and turn off the internal mic on your tablet or your notebook. Uh,
Okay. All right.
So
I will.
if both mics are on at the same time, that could be the cause of the echo.
Okay, I will see what I can do, and y'all let me know
Yeah.
if there's a lot of hissing and it's just unbearable. Also, late breaking news as well, and I do still hear an echo, so I'm pretty sure that may persist. I don't know what happened.
I don't hear the echo. I only heard it like once briefly.
Okay,
Um, so we can ask the audience there if they still hear it.
okay, I may still have an echo because I hear it, so I'm sure that they hear it. So we'll figure out what we can do here, Jimmy. I'm gonna try to see what we got here. All right, yeah, yeah, I can definitely hear the echo.
Oh, I don't. So does
Okay,
anybody else hear the echo now?
I
The
think.
hissing is gone.
Okay, I think Miss Tiffany said she can hear the echo, but we'll see what we can do. Just let me know if it's unbearable, and I'll take them off.
Okay.
Another story, late breaking news on a story we did some years ago in the Tarrant County, Fort Worth area. Tatiana Jefferson, who was killed by a law enforcement officer with her nephew there with her, who was watching a video game. The Fort Worth City Council, that is Tarrant County, unanimously approved a 11.25 million settlement with the estate of a Tatiana Jefferson, a 28-year-old sister who was fatally shot by former Fort Worth officer Aaron Dean. in 2019. The settlement still requires probate approval before it becomes final. But what happened is in 2019, this has been 7 years ago. I don't believe it doesn't seem like it's been that long. Police responded to a neighbor's call reporting that Jefferson's front door was open and lights were on. The officer approached Jefferson's home through the backyard. Dean looked through the bedroom window. Jefferson was inside with her 8-year-old nephew, Zion Carl, who was playing video games. Dean fired one shot through the window, hitting Jefferson, killing her immediately. He was initially charged with murder. Prosecutors said that he unnecessarily escalated the encounter. In December, the jury rejected the murder case but convicted Dean of manslaughter. He was sentenced to 11 years, almost 11 and 10 months, almost 12 um, years in jail. And the Texas Second Court of Appeals upheld the conviction. Dean remains incarcerated to this day. Of course, Miss Jefferson is gone. But the significance of this is that it's, they won actually both a criminal and a civil lawsuit on this one, which is very rare in cases like this, Jimmy. They got 11 million that go into the estate that will go to her family members. Actually, the nephew Zion Carr was awarded 3.5 million dollars, being a party to the murder of Tatiana Jefferson. He got 3.5 million, which is going to be in a trust until he becomes an adult, Jimmy. And so they were able to get a W in both the criminal and the civil case here, Jimmy. It's just again, we have too many cases where you have someone who's not a threat in their own home who are getting killed unnecessarily because law enforcement officers either are incapable or unwilling to serve and protect.
Well, Tom, here's a person who was in her house. She noticed someone in her backyard, a flashlight. She has a nephew that she's raising. She gets her gun for protection. Of course, there's an officer at the front door, but this officer went through the backyard and was looking through the window. And his story is that he saw her heading towards the front door where his partner was, and thought she was going to be a threat. Well, okay, that's you don't know if she's going to be a threat. You haven't announced yourself. There's no siren going on. There are no lights on the car. I mean, you totally approached her house incognito. Um, and once he saw her with the gun, he shot through the window. I got a fly here that's been bugging him, trying to kill him, and killed her. But Tom, you know how dangerous this is. One, you're in your house. You have every right to grab a weapon if you think
To
there's
defend your home.
someone
To
to
defend your
defend your
home.
home.
Correct.
On top of that, your nephew is in that room. If he hadn't hit her, just imagine if that bullet had ricocheted and hit the young man, or if he had fired more than one shot. I mean, it's dangerous what he did. It was reckless. On top of that, Tom, I saw his trial. I saw pieces of it, and you guys can go online on Google, YouTube, and actually search and find not the whole trial, but the part of the trial where he's testifying. So all of the expert witnesses and stuff. But his testimony you can find online. Tom, do you know when asked what kind of grade would you give yourself in this situation? First of all, he gave himself a B plus for the encounter, and then when asked if you had to do it all over again, if you could turn back the clock, would you do it exactly the same? Do you know this fool said yes?
I'm not surprised.
And so, Tom, I hope he serves the entire 11 years. I hope there's no parole board that let him out because generally you have to show some remorse. You have to admit wrongdoing at a parole hearing. But if you can't admit that maybe you were wrong, you made the wrong judgment in this particular situation, and if you had to turn the clock back, I would totally do it different. You can't admit that when a person is dead because of your mistake. Yeah, you deserve to be in jail, but 11 and a half years time is not enough time.
It isn't.
He should actually rot in jail and should never be let go. So now of course I'm not calling for anybody for any violence, but trust me, Tom, I would not shed a tear if somebody put a shank in him and he never walked out of that prison.
Well, interestingly enough, I don't know what happened when we talked about the Sean Grayson, but the cause of death has not been publicly released yet, Jimmy, and I find that a little bit dubious because, again, he was trying to get out because he said he had some type of cancer incident, but I think it's very dubious that they didn't say, well, he died of cancer. They didn't say that.
One time, and maybe if it was, maybe if he's unalived by another prisoner, maybe they don't want to make a spectacle of it, and maybe thinking he's a hero. So just let it lie, let it just die, let the story just die. Because Tom, nobody's shed a tear over this, so no
Right.
one's concerned about no one's making a story of it. And interesting enough, in his latest case. The officer here tried to apply for a medical discharge also of his sentence, and I'm happy that was turned down.
Yeah, Jimmy. We'll definitely see what happens here. I think again, I'm glad that they won the case. It's just a very unfortunate situation that you continue to have things like these happen unnecessarily. And Jimmy, we of course, all things being considered, want to at least say that maybe this will help soften the blow that they lost a daughter, a matriarch in their family, and that in this case, justice is served. But this is so rare, Jimmy. It doesn't happen that often.
Tom, justice is not served for 11 years in exchange for a life.
I would
This
agree.
lady, this lady was young, raising her nephew, just getting through life, and now she's unalive
You're
over this
correct.
guy's
You're
negligence.
you're
So
you're
yeah,
you're,
11 and a half years is not enough,
you're correct, Jimmy. But we've seen too many cases where they get no time.
which is true.
So
So this just goes to show people that sometimes, even when you're not breaking the law, doing absolutely nothing wrong, have every right in your own house where you should feel safe and have a right to defend, that you can end up on the wrong side of a judgment by law enforcement. There's another reason. Be absolutely careful when law enforcement. Then law enforcement should be careful when they're dealing with the public, not to make such rash decisions when you're talking about life and death.
I would agree with you on that one, Jimmy.
That's our next story, T.
All right, let's try something else. I've been kind of playing around with the audio, and I still got this echo going on, so I don't know
It's just
what.
a little bit, but the static is gone. So
Okay, good deal. All right, well, at least we don't have the static anymore. All right, Jenny, let's go to another unfortunate incident. We have a young man in Tennessee was going through a mental health crisis. His mother called for assistance because he was threatening suicide, and he ends up being unalived. Jonah Neal is his name. Jonah Neal, 25-year-old Memphis man who was experiencing a mental health crisis, was fatally shot by a federal agent assigned to the Memphis Safe Task Force. Jonah Neal's Jonah Neal's mother, Jessica Neal, this is not her current, this is of course when he was very young, called police because her son was experiencing a severe mental health crisis and had been threatening to commit suicide. Instead of ordinary Memphis police officers, three Homeland Security Investigations agents responded. HSI as a part of ICE. According to Neal's mother, agents entered the residence while she waited outside. Within minutes, she heard a single shot. Neal was killed on the scene. Body camera footage in this case showed that the non-shooting officer who had his body camera on clearly did not pose a threat to the officer who killed him. The shooting is part of a pretty significant controversy regarding the Memphis Task Force, who has shot five people. Four are dead, and Neal's is just another case where they were asking for help and they shot someone who they were trying to help.
yeah, Tom. I mean that's the irony of this. And so people, I'm gonna say this from studying a lot of video and body cam of officers. One of the patterns that I see is that whatever authority they're given by case law, and generally the courts are the ones who define these interactions. It doesn't matter if it's a Terry stop or Terry v. Ohio or Pennsylvania v. Mims or Rodriguez or Brown v. Houston. It doesn't matter which case it is. Most of the police authority and how they interact with the public comes from case law. Nobody wrote a law that gave them this authority. The courts gave it to them. So the courts are very friendly towards law enforcement. But whatever the rule is, that I can ask you out of the car, I can pat you down, I can do whatever it is, they always take it to the extreme. It's never for the officer safety standard that is used to justify all of these rules. And so if you I've seen cases, Tom, where just flexing your muscle, you tensing up, is enough for them to use force on you. Or in one case, even to shoot a person, because he said, generally people tense up like that, they're getting ready to strike her. And so before, I don't have to wait till they strike me or beat me up. I can defend myself even before they do anything. So you got to be extremely careful about your movements, about tensing up. You cannot be nervous around these people because they have guns. They use them and give them any reason to pull a trigger on you, and some of them will. Tom, the fact that he's killed four people should be a sign to his agency that maybe this cop is a little unhinged and shouldn't be given a gun. It shouldn't be on the force. Yeah, I mean, one incident or two incidents in your career. Some people go their entire career without shooting anyone. And this man's a young career, young officer, and he had four already racked up with five shootings. Luckily, one survived. This is not the person you want coming to your house of the check, a wellness check, and you end up dead off a wellness check. Yeah, you it would be better off him just go ahead and commit suicide.
Yeah, and this is very common within our community, Jimmy. I see a lot of videos. It just by design when it comes to our communities when we get wellness checks. Unfortunately, too many of our people end up dead. Other folks they can slap around the piece, hit them, or anything else, and they drive off and get away. Of course, if anyone in our community drives off, then they get about 20 or 30 bullets in the car, including one inside of them.
Well, Tom, sometimes there are certain classes and groups of people, homeless people, for example, poor people, and especially poor black people, who absolutely do not complain. They don't file lawsuits under 42 USC Section 1983. They don't go file complaints. They don't make any noise. Um, they just take whatever abuse is issued to them, and if they survive it, they're just happy to live and see another day, and they just go on. And so it doesn't make it right, Tom, but what it does is it encourages bad policing because cops know that the people they can get away with this, they'll do it, simply because they can. For someone, if you're a little more affluent, more educated, you seem like the type that will easily go down and file a complaint. You have $1,500 to go initiate a 42 USC lawsuit against the agency or make it a Monell suit against the city or the county. Those folks, Tom, a lot of leeway, like you just said, simply because they know these are not the people you can get away with this with. So you got to be very careful. And on top of that, Tom, even though you can go do a public record request and get the body cam, how many people abused by cops who are poor or in the inner city or who are black for that matter, poor and black, or homeless, are going to go get that body cam and request it and have someone look at it. Nobody looks at the body cam unless somebody dies or a lawsuit is filed. Otherwise, they can have the body cam on, no one's watching it, so they don't care if it's on. They can still act up and do what they do because they know no one's watching, and only if someone dies or someone go file a complaint or a lawsuit will that body cam ever be watched. And that's so rare, Tom, that it's almost like it's not even a deterrent anymore.
Gotcha. We're going to definitely keep our eyes on this one and let you know when we have updates as to what happens. I presume there's probably an impending trial. Um, we will definitely keep you up to speed on this. We got a couple of comments in here. If you can connect your microphone, it will be the best in making speaking straight through your computer speaker. I am not hearing. Well, I do still hear a light echo. Just
I
let me.
don't. I mean, you sound good from my perspective.
Okay. I'll keep going through. We've got another one, Jimmy, that I want to put past your test. The situation in Florida, Jimmy, where you had a couple of brothers, literally brothers, who were driving to work and got stopped. There's a video that's been circulating, went viral online that shows two brothers being stopped by Orlando area police while they were reportedly on their way to work. Officers told them they matched the description of suspects connected to a crime, I think a shooting in this case. One brother began recording and repeatedly questioned the basis of the detention, asking, how could we match the description if officers didn't have a video or evidence of what the person is supposed to look like? The officer acknowledged that police had received the suspect description, but apparently did not have video or additional evidence. The officer said investigators were trying to obtain video before determining whether the men were actually involved in the crime. At one point, the officer told one of the brothers to sit on the ground and said he was being detained, but the man pointed to the other officer who told him that he had actually was free to leave. The officer warned that refusing to sit could result in handcuffs and resisting arrest. And then the man said, well, okay, if I'm not resisting arrest, how are you going to charge me with resisting arrest? Another video subsequently shows officers questioning and searching the other brother. The incident has generated a significant amount of chatter online, with commentators accusing police of profiling and questioning whether the brother's resemblance to a generic suspect description is sufficient justification for detention. Because there are some folks up around here, Jimmy, who say we all look alike.
Okay, Tom. So once again, legal education on this show. What have we been saying show after show every time we do these segments? Keep your mouth shut. Anytime you've been detained by officers, and detainment means that you're not free to leave. So you can ask them, "I'm free to go." If they say no, or they tell you to sit over here, stand over there, put your hands on the car, you are detained at that point, even if they don't say it. Anytime anyone directs your movement, you are detained. Or sometimes, if you can't tell the difference, you are under arrest. But here's a mistake they made, Tom. One, don't try to talk your way out of proving your innocence on the scene. Cops are fact finders. They're not arbiters of truth. They don't announce guilt or innocence. So you're wasting your breath. If they think you're guilty of something, you know what? Let them act on that. Cooperate. Put your hands behind your back. Let them handcuff you. Let them take you down. Whatever. But keep your mouth shut. Just tell them, hey, I'm not going to answer any questions. I'm not going to make any statements without counsel. And then that wraps it. Keep your mouth shut at that point. The problem here, Tom, is that one, the search that they performed on one of the brothers was illegal. Now, in the Terry v. Ohio, officers can do what's called a frisk pat down, which is they can pat down the outer layer of your clothes, but only in the areas that they think maybe you have a weapon. But the cops will just do a total body pat down. So they abuse Terry just from that perspective because the courts told them they can do this. So guess what? Rather than just pat down the area that they think maybe you have a weapon, they just go ahead and take liberty and pat you all the way down. The other thing is they're not supposed to squeeze. They're not supposed to go in your pockets. They're not supposed to go into your clothes because that's a search which they need a warrant for, and they don't have there on the spot. So the search that I saw, the squeezing, the checking of pockets, that goes beyond a Terry pat down time, and that's a search, which is then illegal. But to sit there and try to explain where you're coming from, where you're going, all you're doing, they don't have anything at that case, at that point. All you have is a general vague description. And the courts have said that that is not enough for a probable cause or not even reasonable suspicion, which are two different standards. Without more details, without someone who calls that in with key descriptions describing Tommy, his bald head, the car that he drives, and have inside knowledge of Tom breaking the law. Like I was there when the transaction took place. I was there when he was shooting. I saw him. Without that kind of specificity, some general, you meet the description, is nothing more than a hunch at that point. It's barely enough to even hold you for detention. So what they should have done, Tom, is kept their mouth shut. If you want to put me in cuffs, throw me in the back of a car, take me down, identify me, do whatever, then fine, because at that point you have damages. See, right now they don't have any damages. They have civil rights violations, but you can try to sue, which they have every right to do, and the courts may agree that okay, yeah, there's an illegal search here. There was one told you were free to go, and then the other was telling you detained and sit on the ground. And that whole sit on the ground is a tactic that officers use in order to stand over you like an authority to intimidate you. I don't know why the courts even allow that, but they do. But once again, do not try to talk your way out of anything when you're dealing with cops, because if you say anything about coming from a house, where's your house located? Well, it's over there. Where are you going to work? It's over here. If the place that the incident happened was somewhere between those 2 points, now it gives them reason to continue to investigate, and because they can't rule you out now, Hey, you came from a house, you passed through that area, even if you had nothing to do with it. I don't know that, but you aren't supposed to know it because that's not your job to know. That's for the judge and the jury to decide. Your job is just gather information. But Tom, we get ourselves into trouble when we try to talk our way out of an incident with cops. Do not explain anything to them. Don't answer any questions. Keep your mouth shut.
So what happens when this is a woman and you have an officer who is allegedly patting them down, and they doing an extremely thorough patting down of a woman in every possible place they can find a tape or put a gun.
Well, so Tom, in those particular cases, one, if it's a woman, she can request a female officer to do the pat down.
And
And
what
if
if
there's
there's no
one of
police? And what if there's no
Well,
police female officer?
they have to say it on body cam. They have to tell her that there's no female officer available at this time. But at least it's on body cam. It's on record. The other thing is the pat down, the Terry frisk, what they call it, is really to identify if you have weapons on you. If you raise your hands up, raise your shirt up, and you demonstrate, hey, I don't have anything, you tell them I don't have anything, unless they see a bulge, a barrel sticking out of your pocket, something that looks probably like a knife or a gun, then Tom, they really have no reason whatsoever. The whole reason to do the Terry frisk is really to make sure you don't have weapons on you for officer safety.
I
It's
get
not
you.
just to search you down just because I want to search you down.
I
So
understand,
make
but
them
I think, I mean, these officers, they know what they're doing, and they know what they're doing is legal, but they know that most people don't know the law enough in order
But
to manage
that's
the
the point, though,
situation.
Tom. We have to become more educated on our rights. Make them articulate why they're doing it. Say, I don't have any weapons. You can look at me. If you see something in an area of concern, you have my permission to pat that area down to make sure I don't have anything. Otherwise, because one of the other things they like doing, Tom, is telling you to take your hands out of your pocket. Even though you don't have anything in your pocket, you just putting your hands in there to keep them warm, but they're on a power trip, so they'll say, "Take your hands out of your pockets for officer safety." Well, your response is, "I don't have to take my hands out of my pocket. That's not a lawful order. If you're concerned about something in my pocket, you can pat me down to make sure there's nothing there, and then I will continue to put my hands in my pocket after that. But otherwise, if you don't have any concern that I have a weapon on me, then you can't order me to take my hands out of my pocket." I mean, it's a power trip, Tom, with them, and basically they're just trying to get you to open up and talk. And what they're really looking for, I'll let you on this little secret, and this is why you keep your mouth shut, Tom. If officers have probable cause to arrest you, then the cops will go on and you're in the back of a squad car. They don't have any hesitation about arresting you when they have probable cause. It's when they don't have probable cause and they're looking for it. They're looking for you to say something or for you to do something to give them reason to put the cuffs on you. This is why you keep your mouth shut. If they tell you to put your hands in the car, put your hands in the car. They tell you to step out, step out. But keep your mouth shut because you're not going to talk your way out of it. You only talk your way into a conviction if you start talking.
Gotcha. We will definitely keep our eyes on this story and see what happens out of this one, Jimmy. Let's go ahead and
Oh,
go to
nothing's going
the.
to happen, Tom. There won't even be a reprimand or a record. There won't be any lawsuit because there are no damages. If they had allowed themselves to be handcuffed or on the back of a car, having their freedom even taken away from them, even for a few minutes, like the case of Turner v. Driver in Fort Worth, where the black guy's taking pictures of the police parking lot. Tom, he hit them up 3 times. Same station, same parking lot. And the first time was $100,000. The second time was $100,000. And the last time he recently $200,000. And each time they detained him, the longest was 48 minutes. So for less than 48 minutes of his freedom given up, he's got $400,000 out of the Fort Worth Police Department. So that's my point, Tom, is that don't even try to talk. Sometimes it's better for you and everyone else for them to put the handcuffs on you and take you away. Because when they take your freedom away illegally and they violate your civil rights, now you have damages you can sue for. But detaining you for an investigation on the street and then letting you go, there are no damages there, Tom, unless they physically bruise you or hit you or do something else at that point. But Joe, you have no damages, so this case will just go away.
Gotcha. Let's move forward. Going to follow up to a story that we talked about here recently and then last year as well. Meta has settled for $17 billion. Of course, the parent company to Facebook and Instagram. has agreed to a settlement worth up to $17 billion after being sued by 29 states, which we talked about recently, over allegations that the company designed the platform to be addictive to children and teenagers, creating a mental health crisis. The agreement was reached in Oakland, California, before the case could go to full verdict. The case involved 29 states, but the broader settlement covers 47 states, D.C., and the U.S. territories. And the prosecutors alleged that Meta intentionally designed Instagram and Facebook to keep young users engaged for extended periods of time using features that allegedly encouraged excessive use, misled the public and parents about the safety, ultimately contributing to teen mental health, body image depression, and other psychological damages. They had a former safety engineer who actually provided some testimony himself and alleged that Meta had evidence that the problem was affecting students but did nothing about it. And to put the numbers in perspective, Meta generated about $200 billion in 2025. So this is about 8% of their overall revenue. And so the agreement calls for Meta to make changes that impact daily usage, limits restrictions on access during overnight hours, stronger age verification and parental controls, etc. This is in addition to another case in New Mexico that we talked about probably about a month or so ago. The state obtained 942 million in in financial liability for that case as well, Jimmy. So ultimately, Jimmy, Meta wanted this to go away. They have got a lot of big fish that they are trying to fry in the market, Jimmy. But we've been talking about this not just in terms of what Meta may or may not be doing, but what our families have to do to protect our children.
Tom, I'm going to ask this question. So Meta's doing what they're supposed to do, which is attract people to their platform and keep you there. There's no money in restricting people or encouraging them not to use your platform. They wouldn't even be in existence. But Tom, so I'm going to ask, what happened to the alcohol money when the state sued the alcohol companies? What happened to the tobacco money, that $32 billion settlement, when the state sued the tobacco company? Same thing here. What's going to happen to this $19 billion that they get that Meta turns over to the states, and they won't pay it all at once, even though they have the money. They'll pay it in phases, so it's not going to hurt their bottom line all that much. From a company that makes over 20 billion, earns over $20 billion a year, they'll stretch it out for the next 20 years, 19 years. But the point is, Tom, where's the money going? What good is the money that the states are collecting doing for society? It doesn't. Now, none of that money is going to make a hill of difference, and the changes they've agreed to, Tom, are not going to make any difference whatsoever. So the age verification is already age verification. These kids will still find a way to get on the platforms they want to. There's a will, there's a way. They'll find a way to get around the age verification check. If they have to go steal mom and dad's ID to do it, or to falsify their birthdays. So, Tom, this is just a government shakedown of industries that are making a lot of money. And this is what the government does. You make too much money, they come after you, and they want their share. Taxes are not enough, Tom. So this is just they're basically telling Meta that this is the price you're going to pay. Now, once this is settled, you can't go back to the table a second time. This settles all the lawsuits. Once they reach a settlement, you're done. They're basically saying, hey, you are now indemnifying us from this point going forward. So basically, they'll just look at this as just being a tax, operation tax. We have to just pay a toll to the mafia that we call the government to continue to do business. And once we pay it, we'll just continue on. There's nothing going to be less addictive about the Meta platforms, Instagram or YouTube, Facebook, or any of their 3D world that they created. None of that's going to be less addictive, Tom, in the end. All that's going to be different is the state's going to have a little bit more money. When you divide them among 47 states, Tom, $19 billion is, I don't know, $40 million each. States can easily go through $40 million in a heartbeat and not have anything to show for it other than they spent the money on whatever pet projects they wanted to. No good is going to come from this, Tom. But it's just an example that when you grow too big, so YouTube and Alphabet, who owns YouTube and Google and a bunch of, they're going to be next. TikTok will be right around the corner, and they're going to get shaken down also. The answer here, if your kids have been addicted to social media, get them off the platforms. Take the computers away. Take the tablets away. Take the damn phones away. Get them a goddamn flip phone, with no internet connection. You pay the bill. and somehow you can't control your kids' access to these dangerous platforms.
Yes,
What
Jimmy,
kind
because
of
because the reality of it is, Jimmy, uh, one, you're right. The kids are always going to find a workaround to whatever improvements or so-called improvements are put in place. But the reality of it is, it's the parents that are enabling this behavior. They're the ones that are allowing them to be on here. And the reality of it is, kids will find a way to get into what they want to get into if they want to get into it. And parents get their kids this kind of stuff to keep them quiet, so they're not bothering them. And so these things happen. And a lot of times, Jimmy, parents don't know what their kids are doing. I'm not saying that they should know absolutely everything, even though, in my opinion, they should if they're under their roof. But a lot of times, these parents do not know what their kids are doing until it's too late. There's been irreparable harm, whether that has to do with mental health crisis, whether that has to do with something that leads to suicide, whether that has something to do leads to anything that has to do with harming of their children. Because the reality of it is, most parents are focused on trying to keep the bills paid, keeping a roof over their head, and doing all these other things. But it does have to be your business that you do what's going on in your children's
time?
life.
We try to keep our
But
kids away from alcohol.
uh,
We
well,
try to keep them away from cigarettes,
they
from
don't do that either.
drugs.
They don't do that
And that's
either.
and that's my point is that when folks want to do something, none of this is going to change anything. Alcohol is still just as addictive and dangerous as it's always been. Cigarettes just as addictive and dangerous as they've
But
always
I
been.
will I will say this: there aren't as many smokers now that there used to be back then. Though I will say that much. There, I'll
Tom,
put it. Well. It depends
as
on
a
what's happening.
percentage of the population, there are
Ex-
more smokers now, but as a percentage of the population, it is going down. But here's the
Exactly.
thing, Tom: they still make more money than they ever did before because they just charge more to the ones
Well,
who
yeah.
do smoke.
Well, then let them pay the price.
And so, but all these products are addictive. They continue to be addictive, and I don't care how many settlements these companies make with the government. Their product is still addictive. It's still
You're right.
dangerous.
And this is the other side of it that people haven't thought about. In order for them to put these protections into place, Jimmy, what's going to be sacrificed? Your privacy. At the end of the day, they're going to need more data on you, what you look like, and how to make sure that they can negotiate and work around these safeguards and these controls that they're going to put in place. So watch out for your loss of more privacy based upon the data that the
Right,
government
because Tom,
will use.
to prove it's you, they may ask you for your bank
Ex-
account. I
exactly.
may need you to verify your social security number now. I may need you to verify your 401k account number, something that only you would know, or someone close to you would know, like a spouse. But yeah, Tom, you got to start giving them more and more information to prove that you're you and that you're over age. So
You're right. So it's going to be an interesting. Let's go ahead to our next story, Jimmy, because I thought this was pretty interesting. The U.S. food industry may be taking a haircut, Jimmy. Uh, you found this major shift in American eating habits and costs. The U.S. food and beverage industry potentially up to 55 billion in annual revenue
$55 billion so far, Tom.
by 2030. By 2030, not today. But the primary driver is this weight loss drug, GLP-1. You might know it as Ozempic, Wegovy, or Zepbound, but these medications basically suppress your appetite and reduce your food consumption. And so, as a result, the researchers, I think it was J.P. Morgan Chase, has done the study, and they are saying that users of this drug, this weight loss drug, consume less about 20% less fewer in calories. Of course, that means that the grocery bills are dropping down a little bit, and then
And restaurants.
in higher income household, that spending goes down a little bit more. And so they're expecting this to impact companies that make snack foods, sweets, baked goods, cookies, alcohol, and other discretionary things that are out there, primarily because consumers are taking appetite suppressing medications, Jimmy, and so they're thinking that within the next 5 or so years that the food and beverage companies may be taking about a $55 billion haircut, but the big companies, the Monsantos and other companies, they're expecting will likely adjust by producing foods that are allegedly better for you, protein-rich meals,
Tom,
protein bars, high fiber
Tom,
foods, and things of this
Tom,
nature.
don't believe the hype. They're
I'm
not
not
going to
believing.
produce better. They're
I'm
not going
not.
to produce
Oh,
better food. They're going to
I,
produce better marketing of their
well,
foods.
I would.
They're going to they're going to convince you that that Snicker bar is healthy, even though we know it has mercury in it. That's what they're going to convince you of. They're you convinced that nice fruit and vegetables on the label, all these healthy people in commercials. And if you don't turn around and read that ingredient list and
You're not
see the
gonna. You're
30
not
or
gonna. You're
40
not gonna do.
chemicals.
And plus, die.
Yeah,
Got it.
there's nothing natural in any of these products. They call natural and wholesome and everything else, Tom.
So
So
Jimmy,
they'll just improve the marketing.
Jimmy, you trying to say the only thing natural on it is on the label?
That's it, Tom. And the glue may be the most natural thing, the glue on the label, or the glass bottle itself. So, but no, or the can. But no, Tom. And on top of that, I mean, these are GLP-1 drugs. Um, they basically you lose your release of dopamine when you take these. So if you getting a lot of pleasure from eating food, that some of that pleasure started to be taken away. And on top of that, the GLP-1 hormone is the one hormone that helps govern to tell your body and your brain that you're full. So you have hormones that you get the stomach growls when you're out of calories and your body needs you to refill, to eat something to refuel. Um, and but then when you eat, when you get full, when you gotten enough, you've topped the tank off. Although some people continue to eat after that, this is the hormone that's released in your body that's signaling to the brain that hey, you've eaten enough and you're full. So yeah, by taking it, you can artificially convince your body that you've eaten enough, and eating more food at that point is not going to get you any additional pleasure. So, but we're not encouraging people to go out and get on one of these GLP-1 drugs now because they do have long-term detrimental effects. And the fact that as soon as you stop taking it, all the weight that you lost is going to come back. And if you're eating bad food before, taking the GLP-1 doesn't mean you're eating healthier. It just means you're eating less bad food. So if you stop taking it and you continue to eat bad food, guess what? All the weight's going to come back, and you're going to be even sicker and more unhealthy than you were before you started taking the drug. So if you're on it, use the opportunity to start eating better. If you ever want to get off of it, but when you get off of it, if you're not eating better at that point, if you're still eating McDonald's, Burger King, KFC, yeah, you're going to be in for a bad road, Tom. Bad trip on that road.
Gotcha. All right, let's shift to sports, Jimmy. We got a couple of stories
What do we
we need
got,
to get to.
sports?
'Em. Jimmy,
Tom, hope we don't have a WNBA story, man.
no WNBA story this
Okay,
today, but we'll definitely get to it. The owner of the San Francisco 49ers is in a little bit of trouble, but probably not for too long. Jed York, who is the principal owner of the San Francisco 49ers, was
right,
arrested in East Palestine, Ohio, on August the
right.
23rd, a couple of days ago, after allegedly responding to an undercover online prostitution ad. The initial allegation was engaging in prostitution, but York subsequently pleaded no contest to two lesser charges of misdemeanor disorderly conduct and possessing a criminal tool, which maybe is his phone, I don't know. The operation involved human trafficking task force and the East Palestine police. I don't know if it looks good in orange, Jimmy. According to the police report, York allegedly used the name Joe when
Tom, orange is not the
communicating.
new black.
Yeah, I don't know, but he used the name Joe when communicating with the undercover officer posing as a prostitute. Investigators said he contacted the ad multiple times before arranging the meeting. He allegedly agreed to pay $160 for sexual activity. York, this is a billionaire, folks. York arrived at the designated location, a trailer park, with a rental vehicle and was thereafter arrested. The police seized the cell phone and the cash. He, of course, pleaded to two lesser counts and got 1 day in jail, $1,150 in fine, $160 received and given to the Human Trafficking Task Force, and he posted bail on the $5,000 bond. This is a billionaire,
So Tom, just because you have money doesn't mean that you're very smart sometimes. And people like him, and who's the owner of the New England Patriots, the Kraft guy,
Robert Kraft, yeah,
got
yeah.
caught buying cheap prostitutes. Also, Tom, I know that in his circle, there are high-end call girls that he can call, and for $5,000, 10,000, let you do whatever you want. Leave the money of the check or the bank transfer go through. Everything is clean and out of sight, and you have to worry about why would a billionaire be at a trailer park dealing with a $140 hooker, or even Kraft for that matter, dealing with I think his was under $200 also. When these people are billionaires,
A
it just
billionaire,
goes to show. It
and,
just
and,
goes to show, Tom, that just because you have money, don't mean you make good decisions.
and this was stupid. I mean, it was a stupid personal decision. It was a stupid business decision. It's a distraction. The reality of it is, the players on his team who make a hell of a lot less money than he does, they get jacked up a lot worse for this, for much minor charges, whether it's DUI or something of that nature. And the reality of it is, I mean, we've had this. We had the Robert Kraft situation. We had the owner of the Indianapolis coach, who I think is now deceased, who got caught with cocaine or something like that. I mean, just stupid stuff. To your point, Jimmy, I would agree. Some of these are grown little boys with a lot of money, but this would I kind of scratch your head on. I'm like, dude, a trailer park, $140, you're a billionaire.
And
You got to
Tom,
know a little bit better than that.
you're the principal owner of the San Francisco 49ers. Everywhere you go, every city you go to, just about every player on that team, probably down to the water boy, has a groupie, has somebody they're trying to throw sex at them, hoping to hook a professional athlete. You're the guy who signs that guy's check. So you're even richer than the guy that the women are going after. So what do you imagine if you just announced that I'm the owner of the 49ers, all the groupies that are in that room, you suck all the air out of it, and every one of them would come running to you at that point. This guy does not have to go around buying sex for $140 hooker, Tom. Come on.
That's
This
embarrassing.
is
That's embarrassing to the team. It's embarrassing to his family. It's ridiculous. And the thing about it is that with all the stuff that we see that's blowing up, and we may talk about this for a couple of minutes, that people are really jumping on players for some boneheaded stuff that they do. They need to have that same energy for this idiot. And I'm calling him an idiot because this is just idiot.
well, Tom. Like I said, not just a billionaire, multi-billionaire, because a professional sports team, especially a football team, costs billions of dollars to purchase. So it's not a cheap endeavor anymore. And so you have to have really deep pocket to do this, Tom. And like I said, just having the money doesn't make you smart.
True that.
So
True that. Let's go to a couple of sports briefs, and we'll move forward as we're getting closer to the regular season. We have this last weekend of preseason, and then of course we have regular season that'll be starting in September, Jimmy. So we're gonna talk a little bit about your Cowboys first. Two angles on this. Joe Milton, who is competing for the number two quarterback position with the Dallas Cowboys, is getting a lot of attention because he's played a pretty decent first two games coming out of this year, Jimmy. And a lot of folks are arguing, could this potentially be a QB1 in waiting, even though he's competing for the QB2. Not for the
yes,
Cowboys, that's Dak Prescott. But is he potentially a QB1 in waiting
yes, he
someplace
is.
with Joe Milton? He's had, over the preseason, 21 completions on 28 attempts, 75% completion rating, 286 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, one rushing touchdown, and is looking a ton better than he did last year.
Well, Tom, I mean, I liked Milton when he played in Michigan. I thought he was a good quarterback then, had some pro potential. Then he transferred to Tennessee, I believe. And I did watch Tennessee. I think
You're
they played in
correct.
the Rose Bowl. Um, and I mean, he just showed out in that bowl game. And he wasn't a great NFL quarterback when he came out, Tom. But
And
now
he
he
was and
looks
he,
like
and he, and he was drafted by the New England Patriots, by the way.
yes. And so, but now, when I look at him now, I'm like, yeah, this kid is definitely morphed into an NFL quarterback. And Tom, the Cowboys not going to get rid of him because
You don't
he
think
is
they're
now
gonna
the
you don't think they're gonna use him as leverage to get a couple of a piece or two that can
no,
kind of
Tom,
fill some gaps?
because the reason being is that Dak's contract is coming up. He only has 2 years left on it, and he's going to want another big $200 million contract, 50 million, $60 million a year, kind of a deal.
That's not gonna happen.
Well, Tom, now with Milton in the wing, we have our backup replacement quarterback, and we can afford to sit him down and let him develop and mature. And then plus, if Dak were to get hurt, which he's had a couple of injuries, you have a competent quarterback that can come in now that you know what you have. Not only does he have a great arm, it's a very strong arm, but he's shown he has a good touch. The timing is there, and Tom, he can run. And he's young and he doesn't
Yep.
cost you a lot of money. So he's not a $50 million backup quarterback.
This
So,
is this
um,
is his what, third year in the league?
yeah. So
Okay.
Dak is going to have to play his heart out. So he still has another year and an option on his rookie contract. So the Cowboys can now lock him up for the next 3 seasons on the cheap. so that you don't have to deal with trying to pay him any big money. And if he's not a starter, Tom, backup quarterback money is about $20 million a year in the NFL.
20
So
million for a backup.
yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, so he'll still, but still, that's a lot better than 60 million that a lot of these starting quarterbacks want now. And so when Dak decides to sit down and think he's worth $65 million, he want to be the highest paid player in
Well,
the league.
he's already done that once, Jimmy. And my thing is this: he's made his life and family altering money at this point. He doesn't have, he ain't even sniffed a Super Bowl, and so when he comes up for his next contract, my
That's
thinking
my
is
point, Tom. He hadn't
yes,
got anywhere near Super Bowl. He's
correct.
not Tom Brady,
No,
who
well,
willfully took a pay cut.
there's only one Tom Brady though. I mean, we can't. There's only one Tom Brady.
Well, but on top of that, what will help make Tom Brady great is all the players around him, which he was willing to sacrifice to take less
True,
money,
true.
a lot less money. I mean, he could have held the Patriots after that first second Super Bowl. He could have
True.
put their feet to the fire.
That's true.
Took a lot less money. He wasn't even top 10 paid quarterbacks in the league, Tom. He took a lot less money, so they didn't have money to sign other players to put around him. Dak has not shown a willingness to take 25 cents less in order to help the rest of the organization out. He
If
wants all
he,
the money they can get, and I imagine that the next contract, without producing a Super Bowl, he's going to want even more.
I don't think so. I just don't think
Okay.
so. I think by that time, this is what his ninth or 10th year in the league, give or take. The reality of it is, he know he's not come close to a Super Bowl. The reality of it is, if he thinks he's going to get a ring, either he's going to have to take a, I don't want to call it second tier or a contract that is team friendly, or he's going to get traded to someplace else where he thinks he can actually get a ring.
Tom, he would not, if he play out this contract with the Cowboys, he would not be a Cowboy player after that. The Cowboys are not going to re-sign Dak, even for less money. And I don't think he's going to take, for a guy who makes $55 million a year now, he's not going to go drastic 30, $40 million cut in order for the Cowboys. And the Cowboys have an up and coming quarterback that they can groom now and get ready,
True.
who's showing a great deal of potential, and that's going to cost you, maybe in a couple of years, 20, $25 million. That you can give him a very friendly contract, 4 year,
Yes.
$100 million contract versus a 4 year, 265, $270 million contract. Yeah, I think the
But
writing's on the wall, Tom.
I would say Jerry is smiling right now because he knows he has leverage.
Oh, he has leverage. The only way
He is.
Dak is going to win this time, he has to produce a Super Bowl this year. He got to get that trophy and bring it in, maybe this year and next year.
Well,
He may have some leverage at that point.
unfortunately for Dak, he don't play defense though, because the reality of it is, Jimmy, that's what they missing. That's what they've been missing, a defense.
Well,
And to that point, talking about offense and pieces to put around the gym, cell phones in the hands of minors for some parents is parenting. It gives them a break from having to deal with. Yeah, that's what I talked about earlier when we
parents
talked
don't need a
about.
break, Tom. What is all this break nonsense? We have put kids in front of TVs, computers, phones, tablets. What happened to just spending time with your child and raising them, teaching them something, reading the Bible to them, sit down and talk about their day, helping them with their homework? Come on, Tom. We have to get back to parenting, old fashioned parenting. And while you at doing the old fashioned piece,
That
get
generation is on
get
the
get
whole,
that belt out also.
with some rare exceptions, that generation of parents are gone.
Okay, and I guess that's why kids are where they jacked up the way they are now.
You are exactly right. Let's staying on the Cowboys though. There's another player that's kind of caught some attention during the
Brown,
preseason.
the wide
Andrew
receiver
Brown, yeah, the wide
from
receiver.
Georgia
Yeah,
Tech, I believe.
Georgia
Jordan
Southern
Southern.
University,
Okay.
who is shown to be quite intriguing. Not the fastest, wasn't he was an undrafted rookie this year out of 2026. Came out of Georgia. Matter of fact, Georgia Southern's first 1,000-yard receiver.
1,400 yards, I think, is last year.
1,079 yards, 14 touchdowns, three catches for 62 yards and two touchdowns against Seattle in the first preseason game. Two receptions, 77 yards against Arizona's second game with a 70-yard catch and run. Jimmy, total of five receptions, seven targets, two touchdowns. Jimmy,
The kid has
what?
great hands, Tom.
Yes, he does. He's not the
He,
fastest. He
he, he may
wasn't.
not be the fastest, but he has great hands.
and he's not going to be. He's not one, not two. Maybe competing for three or four, Jimmy, because you got Turpin, who's playing special teams and receiving. I forgot the other guy that you playing for as well. But this guy's showing some potential.
Tom, he should definitely be the number four receiver. Now they're going to carry five, so he should not. He should definitely be one of the five, but he's probably the number four because Turpin probably earned the right to be the number three,
Yes,
only because of seniority and his speed. He does.
and
We
special
saw what he
teams.
did
He's very
in
dangerous on
special
special
team.
teams.
We
Exactly.
saw what he did when he was at we played in TCU over in Fort Worth when he was in college. But he definitely has speed, so he would definitely be the number three guy. But Brown should definitely be the number four. Whatever comes after that time, number five doesn't even matter at that point,
I
unless
would
somebody
agree.
gets hurt.
Because if you have someone that can make one or two big plays a game, and this guy's a rookie on undrafted rookie money, you need to keep him given what you've seen in preseason thus far.
Yeah, and Tom with the number one and number two that you already have, who are great. That's a great duo, and you can bring in Turpin and Brown to sub them out to give them a breather for a play or two, and these guys can still make plays. You can't ask for anything more than that, Tom.
You really can't. I mean, considering what you saw last year, the question is, what does the interior line look for the Cowboys? Because I mean, you can put a and they got a solid tight end as well, Jimmy. You can literally put 4 or 5 receivers on the field for Dak. How many teams are going to be able to cover four, arguably five legit receivers on the field as long as you got enough time to get back and
Right.
go down your tree?
Yeah, because for a five receiver set, you've emptied the backfield. You only got five of them blocking. So yeah, if they can buy you the time to get the ball off, that many receivers and a tight end who's talented also
Yeah,
should make you very lethal if you have the
exactly.
time.
If again, if the interior line, if they can find an interior line.
And you don't have to block that long now. You just need to hold it for like a second. You need to put up some resistance and buy your quarterback just a little bit of time. But they're definitely enough talent at time for somebody to get open. It's
And
just a
I
matter of making the right
and,
read.
and I would say, Jimmy, arguably, I mean, they have a pretty decent running back. I forgot the guy's name. There's another guy, I think his last name is Blue, who's competing
Right, he's
for a
from
spot.
University of Texas,
Who's competing for a spot on the roster. They are
so he's probably
loaded.
the
They
second.
are they are loaded. I mean, I would say they are legitimately loaded in the skill positions. The question is that they're going to be able to stop anybody from scoring.
By the time they totally rebuilt the defense, they brought in the coordinator, one of the coaches from Philadelphia, to be our defensive
Yes,
coordinator.
young guy.
Um, Young guy too. So his mindset is pressure, gang tackling, playing very physical, and so the good thing about him, Tom, is someone who can evaluate talent, which is what you need. So it's going to be hard to fake it with a guy who knows what he's doing, and so I think the defense will be much better. They don't have to be a top 10 defense, but you can't be 32 out of 32 teams. 32 out of 33 teams. You can't be that far back. If you're in the middle of the pack, 15, 10 to 15 would be great for us, Tom. We can win some
Yeah,
games and do some things from 10 to 15. So you don't have to be in the top 10 spots on defense. It'd be great if you are, but if you're not, if you're in the 10 to 15, we're still good. Even 15 to 20, we're still good.
Jimmy,
Tom, we were
Jimmy.
32 out of 33 last year.
I know, Jimmy. Where is Dave Wannstedt when you need him?
Yeah, where is Day One? Says he's still coaching?
I don't believe so. But where's Dave
Oh, okay.
Wannstedt? Because
Man.
he was the dude that built Jimmy Johnson's defense.
Yes, he was great at it, Tom.
Before he got poached and of course became a coach. Got a couple of quotes from Miss Tanya Hall before we jump off of this week's conference. Let me see here. Okay, Meta needs to be responsible as service providers to the country and especially to minors. What adults do, that's their business, but nowadays kids aren't being shepherded like we were. Companies are only going to be responsible to one group, and that's their shareholders. I mean, they
That's
should
it.
they should do the right thing, but the reality of it is, Meta is a publicly traded company, and their first, second, and third responsibility are to their shareholders, and that's the facts. Let me see here.
And
What we
Tom,
got?
think about what you just said. What is Zuckerberg gonna go back and tell his shareholders? that if we pony up this money now, we're going to be indemnified going forward from any future lawsuits. So let's just go ahead and take the hit and just go move forward, and we'll make it back next year. Tom, what is going to change in their platform? Very little. Nothing's going to really change in the bigger picture. You can have just as
Material.
many kids on their platforms as ever before. You can have more people addicted to the platform as ever before. And now they can go hire more neurologists to make their platform even more addictive because they know in the future they're not going to be sued. This is just a one-time hit now. So
Yeah.
now we can make our platform as addictive as possible with all these fake rewards and bells and whistles to keep people coming back and keep kids coming back. And there's nothing anyone going to be able to do about it now. You won't be able to sue us in the future.
Gotcha. Second comment: Asian and European countries got the memo on social media toxicity. Toxicity. Well, let's be very clear: the United States is not Europe or Asia, and Europe actually kind of cares about their citizens. They are actually responsible for what happens. I mean, most of the stuff, for instance, if we look at what's in the food supply, is absolutely banned in most European countries, and so the
Yeah,
United
they
States,
don't eat our food, Tom.
United States has no concern for their people. Europe does, and so it's a little bit different. I guess they want their people to live, and they want us to either. Well, I don't want to say what they want us to do, because at the end of the
And
day, Jimmy, considering where the country is going, there are a lot of folks who, I hate to say this, aren't going to be needed sooner than later in this country. So I don't know that those who are in the uber wealthy are really concerned about the working class people long term, because they're going to say, well, I quite frankly don't even need you as a labor force anymore, because I've got platforms that will be doing the work a lot faster without having to call in. And so
And
it's
Tom,
something
if
that people
if we
need to
need
consider.
more workers, they'll just open the floodgates and let them in. It's called illegal immigration. So every now and then they're going to open those floodgates in, let
Oh,
them
wait a
come
minute,
in
Jimmy. Wait a minute.
because you need
Oh, I
more.
thought, I thought, thought the United States was trying to close the borders and stop all
Well, they're
this
trying to
illegal
close it
immigration.
now, but like I said, every now and then they're going to open that. Somebody's going to open the gate up to let people in because we have barely maintained our population. Most European countries are losing population. They can't replace their population, which is why they let so many people into Europe. But they've closed their gates up because socially and culturally wasn't a good fit.
Gotcha.
Um,
Another
so
another another statement here. Already having issues with Ozempic and Zep, bound major issues. Of course, all of these products are going to have side effects and consequences, and so the reality of it is, it's just a matter of time before they. It's just like with cigarettes. Cigarettes at one point in time in this country was actually was not a problem until
Tom, everybody has to pay up. Even Microsoft had to pay up to the government to
exactly.
sell their lawsuit. The thing with the GLP-1 drugs, Tom, there are over 4,000 lawsuits linking the GLP-1 drugs, hormone drug therapy, to blindness. So it's not just the weight loss and the muscle loss, and that once you're on it, you can't get off of it, and also all the weight comes back. But the other thing, a lot of people have reported taking GLP-1s and then losing their eyesight. So just be careful.
Yeah, yeah. Another thing, she said people are pushing more towards vegetarianism. There are other natural ways to curb the appetite with different herbs, increasing your water intake, etc., in terms of helping to curb your appetite.
Tom,
Some
we're meat
people, some
eaters.
some people that are morbidly obese, I get them because they don't have any other answer. Discipline is out the door, and so temporary use of these drugs is okay, but get off immediately.
Tom, I lost a ton of weight by becoming a carnivore, which means I gave up the rice, the pasta, the bread, the potatoes, anything that's a large number of carbs in it. I just stopped eating, and I do just fine. I've lost a ton of weight. Others have done the same thing. You were designed to eat meat, fatty meat, not the good stuff, not the lean chicken breast with no fat. And get that nice fatty thigh or leg or a cheap steak, something with lots of fat on it, Tom. And if you consume that, that fat will help fill you up, keep you satiated, and you'll slowly lose your craving after a few weeks. But there's something called the 90-day carnivore challenge by this guy named Dr. Ken Berry. You can look him up on YouTube. Take the challenge, do it, and your life will be forever changed after 90 days. I
Okay.
promise you.
I will suggest this, folks, for you folks who are church going, Bible toting folks, read what the Bible says about your diet. I won't even say nothing else.
Well,
All right,
Tom,
Jimmy.
the Bible also says how God loved the sin of fat. So that should be a sign for you right there. some good fat on the barbecue grill is
God,
very
the Bible does not say go get on the barbecue grill, okay, Jimmy?
it doesn't tell, but he says God loves the scent of fat, loves the smell of it. So some good fatty meat on the grill. God's up above sniffing, getting hunger pains, wishing he was down here with us to get some of it. So that should let you know something. If
Read the
God loves
Bible.
fat, we should love fat.
Read what the scripture says closely, folks. Closely. All right,
You know
Jimmy.
what?
It
I'm gonna
is
come
good.
back next week with my Bible verse and show you that God's a carnivore and he likes meat, fatty meat.
All right, Jimmy. It is 15 after the hour. We have gotten through all of our stories, at least for the day, Jimmy. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this week's show. We went a little bit longer than expected, but we had a lot of covering, a couple of late breaking stories that we wanted to make sure we included, so it would still be relevant. So we want to thank everybody who joined us tonight. We hope you guys have enjoyed the show. Share this with anyone out there who needs to see it, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week, Jimmy. Because if it's Wednesday night,
It's certainly black men speak.
good night, everyone. Thank you.